Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today we're going to talk about some 5-star predictions. Okay, so today we're going to be wrapping up the latest round of 5-star predictions that I shared with you a few months ago. This is in collaboration with Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library and Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand. Every Thursday, they join you for something bookish related, and periodically they will do 5-star predictions. This last round of 5-star predictions, they asked Krista from Books and Jams and myself to join them in selecting some 5-star predictions from our Christmas book exchange piles. So, in addition to this round of 5-star predictions, my friends and I at Christmas time we do a Christmas book exchange where we exchange books with each other. And this past year was my first year doing it with them, and I'm going to be doing it with them again this year. I'm so excited. And so anyway, for this round of 5-star predictions, the challenge was to pick a book off of that pile of books that we've gotten from Christmas Book Exchange, and pick 3 books that we thought would be 5-star predictions. So we each picked one book from each of the other people. So I have a book here from Sarah, from Lindsay, and from Krista to share with you that I thought would be 5-star predictions. I've read them all now, and so we're just going to get into it, and I'm going to let you know what I thought of all of these books. All right, so the first book that I want to talk with you about today, I'm going to have to put up here on the screen because I've already lent it out to a friend. I thought that the subject matter would resonate very much with her, and so I just handed it to her, not thinking that I needed it. So anyway, pictures up here. But this is The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth. This book primarily talks about early onset Alzheimer's. The main character of this book, Anna, has early onset Alzheimer's and is being moved into an assisted living facility. Her brother is her primary caretaker, and he has decided to move her into this specific facility because he knows that there is another resident there who it also is her age, who is a similar age. They're in their 40s, Anna and this other resident. And so he decides to move her into this specific facility for that reason. While she is there, Anna meets Luke, who is that other resident, and a relationship kind of forms between the two of them. This book is primarily told from Anna's point of view, and so it's really interesting because you get to see the deterioration of her memory through her narration and what she remembers and what she doesn't at such a young age. It's really hard to read sometimes. And then there's a second point of view, which is that of Eve. Eve is someone who is working at the facility. She is a single mother and she is applying for a job. She needs to work in a specific school district, and so she is kind of like desperate for a job. And she ends up getting a job working at this facility with Anna and Luke, and really tries to advocate for the two of them together. There are a lot of really interesting conversations that come up within the book, as you can imagine, having two people in their 40s who are dealing with memory loss. Luke is dealing with speech loss. And how can they give consent? Things like that come up, their safety, things like that. And so it is a very, very interesting book. I really, really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, 4.5 really. I thought that the concepts were really unique and inventive. The way that Sally Hepworth was able to tell the story that is really hard to tell, I thought was just really well done. And yeah, it just didn't totally blow my socks off. It was a little slow at times here and there. There were some points that I'm like, what is happening? But then also I was very impressed with her always surprising me. There were things that you thought you kind of had figured out, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that was not where the direction that was going at all. So it was really good. Not quite 5 stars, but really close, and would still highly, highly recommend it. Okay, moving on. So the next book that I want to share with you is The Girl They Left Behind by Roxanne Veletzos? I don't know. Anyway, that's the name. And this is a historical fiction book that takes place during World War II and post-World War II, mostly post-World War II in Romania. And this is kind of the look at what happened in Romania, primarily between the years of 1940 to 1960, 1965 maybe. It was based off of Roxanne Valetzos, I believe her grandmother. A very similar story happened to her. So basically, what happens is one night a Jewish couple is fleeing and they know that they can get out somewhere. Like they know that they have somewhere that they can run to, but they can't take their daughter with them. And so they leave this child in the hotel lobby of just this hotel in Romania, hoping that she will be found by somebody and that they will take care of her. And that's kind of what happens. She ends up being adopted into a fairly wealthy family within Romania, and she gets adopted, and then things just kind of go from there. So this is really just the story of Natalia's life from the time that she was adopted all the way through like young womanhood, and her life, specifically talking about the culture in Romania and how the wealthy were torn down and things were constantly taken away from them. And so her father, who was aristocratic-ish, things that she really loved, like playing the piano and having piano lessons, all of these things were taken away from her. And it was super, super interesting, all while knowing that she was adopted and where her birth parents, what's going on with that. It was interesting. So the one thing I will say is if you have read Ruta Sepetys' new book, I Must Betray You, this would be a really interesting book to read. I will say that was the thing that interested me the most about this book, was the ties, how I could see the buildup from this book into what eventually happened in the 1980s in Romania and the revolution there, and how this kind of from World War II building up to what happened in I Must Betray You was extremely interesting to me. So, a not really popular country to read about, I would say. Like, there's not a lot of books out there set in Romania, and this one is one that I enjoyed. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. It was good. It wasn't great. It's not one that I'm going to probably remember for very long, but it did kind of it tickled my brain a little as far as what was going on in Romania and Romanian history, and that I really appreciated. So this one got 3.5 stars from me. All right, and then the last book that I want to talk about, you guys, I have a very unpopular opinion about this book, and I'm really scared to talk about it, but that is Red Rising by Pierce Brosnan. This is a sci-fi book. The setup is kind of that this society, these people are living on Mars. In this society, our main character, Darrow, is a miner. They primarily live underground. They are of the red class, so society is broken into classes, and they're color coded. And so the red class is the miners. They live on Mars. They mine for helium, maybe. I don't remember exactly what it is. They mine for a specific element in Mars. And they are being told that they are terraformers. They are there to, prepare Mars for civilization, and that blah, 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 whatever. So that's kind of what he's been being told. Him and his wife get into some trouble one night, and she decides to be a little rebellious, which society does not take well to, and ends up, things happen through a series of events. Darrow is selected by some people outside of his knowledge to be transformed into a gold member of society, which are the upper echelon of society, and compete to I don't even know what. So, if that explains anything to you, I read this entire book and I still don't understand what the end goal is, other than to tear down society. You guys, I did not like this book at all. I did not like this book at all. It was so confusing. There was a lot going on, especially for like a sci-fi fantasy-esque book. There was so much world building that didn't happen, that you were just kind of thrown into this with all these terms for things and the way things worked with no explanation. And it was extremely confusing, if you can't tell by my description of the book. Like, I got to the end of the book and I still don't really understand what the main point was. It's been compared to Hunger Games because it's kind of a arena scenario where all these houses are thrown together and one wins, but you're you're told that, but you never really understand, like, what does that mean? Does that mean that they have to kill each other? Does that mean that they're playing a game? Does it, like, it's just, it was very disappointing. I was very upset. And I just read The Count of Monte Cristo, and in some of those lives, Christy Lewis was like, this reminds me so much of Red Rising, like some of these like key elements because of the revenge plot and stuff, which I can kind of see because Darrow has specific people that he wants to seek revenge on, but it was just so, I don't know. The main character is supposed to be 16 in this. He did not read like 16 at all. He read like 22 to 25-year-old. He, like, some of the things that he knew how to do just randomly, I'm like, I don't know. It just didn't work for me. And I know so many people love this book, but I think for me, it was just the not explaining the background of what was happening and some of the terms that were being used. Like they were supposed to be striving to get an apprenticeship, but you don't really know what that means. Like, how do you, like, what is an apprenticeship in this society? You have no idea. Like things like that that just got under my skin that I couldn't let go. And so, yeah, this one got a generous 2 stars for me. Oof. It was a rough one. So that's my unpopular opinion. Sorry for that. If you felt similar about this, I would love to hear from you. If you love this book, like there's nothing innately wrong with it. It just didn't work for me. It was, I think this was a me thing. I don't think I was smart enough to understand this book. And I think that's all it is. So anyway, those are the 3 books that I read for this round of 5-star predictions. Oh, I forgot to say, this one was from Sarah. This one was from Krista, and then The Things We Keep was from Lindsay. So I had forgotten to say that earlier. But, whoop, I just knocked down my books. If you have thoughts about any of the books that I've talked about today, or have any books that you would recommend me based off of what I've talked about today, I would love to hear that down in the comment section down below. And I think that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much to Lindsay and Sarah for including me in this round of 5-star predictions. And until next time, see ya.